Hi, howdy, welcome back. If you can't tell by the title of today's video, these are the top 5 palettes out of my collection that I purchased and thought I'd get more use out of. I thought these would be regulars, but I just don't. Okay, guys, if this is your first time here, feel free to reach down and hit like. If this is not your first time here, feel free to reach down and hit subscribe, then like, either or, whatever makes you feel comfortable, okay? What do you guys think of the haircut? I got it cut today. I got my eyebrows done today. And I got my COVID booster today. So we are going to see how this hits me. When I had my original COVID vaccination and booster done, it was with Johnson & Johnson. My booster is with Moderna. It's been recommended that you mix it up. So I guess we will see tomorrow how I feel. Okay, first one on the one that I am talking about. Purchased this. I think I did one of my earliest videos with this. It's called Nude Dip by Tom Ford. Now, this is Tom Ford's iconic wet, dry formula. Burn! So you can tell these are basic, beautiful neutrals. And this is an amazing formula. Do love his formula. And then once you make this wet, this stuff goes off the hook. It's beautiful. Unfortunately, this is one of those quads where it really is just a single shade look. You really don't end up doing multiples into it. And as you can tell, when it is dry, it is very, very light in color. You wet it, it becomes much more vibrant. It takes on a metallic tone, and I just don't reach for it. Now, I'm going to give you guys a warning right up front. I will be doing a declutter video because I came across this nifty concept of doing 24 days of declutter before Christmas, 24 objects each day kind of deal. So I am trying to do that, and I will do the video itself after Christmas to see what I decluttered. Now, some of the palettes in this video will be on the chopping block and some will not. Some of these I just absolutely love, even if I don't use them often. And some of them, I'm not certain why I'm still holding on to them. Okay, guys, we're going to see how I feel tomorrow. A little terrified about that. Not going to lie. Glad I got my flu shot separate. Okay, the next palette out of the 5. Okay, everybody and their mother knows what this palette is. This was the Mel collaboration with Sydney Grace. As you know, Mel has passed away. And when I had ordered this, I was on the waiting list originally. This is the palette. She's beautiful. Problem is, I don't feel inspired when I pick it up. There are some amazing colors, and I don't know if it's the way this palette is laid out. And this is good quality. Sydney Grace tends to be amazing quality. See? She's vibrant. She's there. And some of these colors are just gorgeous. I just don't reach for it. And I don't know if it's because every time I open it, I get this overwhelmed sense, and I always end up going somewhere else. And some of these pictures, not pictures, but colors, I wonder if I ripped this palette apart, rearranged it, if I would enjoy it more. I'm kind of feeling like that is the case with this one. I don't know. I did that with Natasha Denona's Metropolis palette. I use that thing a whole bunch more now that I've moved it around. It makes much more of a coherent story to me, and it's easier for me to use. And with the Tiny Marbles palette, I'm really wondering if that is the case for me. The majority of this palette is just basic neutrals. Right here, this tea is basic neutrals with the exception of this green. I can see working the green in with the brown and the gold, but for some reason, when I go to open it and when I go to do that, it's like a full-blown, and I don't. So I'm debating between just ripping this apart and rearranging it in a way that makes more sense to me if I would actually use this more. I know, weird, right? Okay, number 3, ColourPop. Some of you may know I have a low-grade ColourPop addiction. It is a reasonably priced brand. They have a lot of options. This is the Designer Collection ColourPop, and it's the Disney Princesses palette. These are beautiful basics. It's one of those things I thought I would use more and I just don't. And I don't know if it's because I've got almost all these colors in other browns or other palettes, but this is just one I don't reach for. And honestly, I'm contemplating just chopping this one or ripping it apart for the colors I want and chucking the rest. It's kind of in the middle. Because like, see this one? Like I love this color here. And I love this color here. And even this one here. Like, I'm not singing on this one. This is basic. That is basic. Triton is basic. Abu. Meh. While I'm looking at Abu, it kind of reminds me of another color. But it's just... This is a very basic neutrals palette. And I have these colors in other brands. In other formulas that I might lean more towards than this. I think I've used this palette 3 times. Ever, which frustrates me because I paid good money for this, and this is not a bad palette. It's just something I don't reach for. Okay, this one you're gonna find is Shock. As you guys know, I love green. It's my favorite color. Like straight up love green. Jeffree Star's Blood Money palette. So let me just take this sticker off. I don't know why I left the sticker on. I do not reach for this palette very often, and I realized this the other day. Like, I straight up realized it, and I was like, why don't I? I love this palette. Like, the last couple days after I realized that, I started using it in as many ways as I could, and I ended up having to use it in conjunction with some of my favorites. Like, I have some basic favorites that, I don't want to say they're neutrals, but some basic neutrals. I tend to lean more towards grays for my neutrals than browns. I just do. Because most browns still look dark brown on me. My complexion is so light. This is it. But I love this palette. This palette's going nowhere. Love, love, love this palette. Like, I don't know if I ever swatched this color. It's called Money Heist. I feel like it is the beautiful topper version to one of his eyeliners, and it shifts between gold and green. It's gorgeous. Tax-free. So I have spent the last couple days actively using this palette because it's something I just somehow always forget, and I don't know why. I love this palette. Cut my finger cooking. So we shall see. Like, I love this palette. I don't know how many ways I can say that I love this palette. And yet I almost never reach for it. I always end up reaching for like the cremated palette or something else. And this has so many varieties of green. Like, this is just gorgeous. Like, I love this. Love that. These go wonderfully. Surprisingly, I even like this dark color. And I tend to avoid super dark colors just because of my skin tone. But I love these. Just don't use it enough. And it drives me friggin' bonkers. Now, this last one may shock some of you. Just straight up shock you. My 5th palette, the one I bought thinking I would use all the friggin' time. This would be an everyday basics. This is an awesome. I love the color story. This leans more towards wearable, neutral, and yet beautiful. I love the Divine Rose palette. Did I grab the Divine Rose? Nope, this is Divine Rose too. Still runs true. Oh, this is Divine Rose. What am I reading? Yeah, this is Divine Rose. My brain is on fart. Excuse me. It's a beautiful palette. I love these colors. And yet for some reason, I almost never reach for it. I'm thinking I need to rearrange some of my eyeshadow palettes to push some of these more towards the front. Like, I am not parting with this palette by any means. I love it. I do adore it. I just rarely ever, and this is one of the special shades, rarely ever reach for it. And I think sometimes I feel like I'm limited by what's in this palette. Like, I should almost run some of it in conjunction with see, that is beautiful. That is one of the 4 special shadows. See the way it reflects, and it goes between that pink and that gold, and it is gorgeous. And I actually love these colors. These are mattes, but her mattes are okay. They're there. They're not bad. They are pretty standard mattes. It's these 4 that are the specialty shades that she is known for. And then these is just everything else. Now, that would be the majority of the palette right there. It was okay. I just don't reach for it the way I thought I would. And am I the only one? Like, the world went insane for this palette. The makeup world went insane for it. I ended up on a waiting list. I did get a hold of it. And yet, I feel like I don't use it enough. Like, I just don't. God, look at those colors together. Like, actually, these colors would be beautiful together, but whatever. Okay, guys, do you have any palettes that you purchased that way that you thought you were just going to go absolutely freaking wild for, and you didn't? I'm not going to lie, 1 or 2 of these palettes may end up on the chopping block for my declutter, because I look at them, and some of them I've just fallen in love with. Like, I was really into, like, at one point I was really into Tom Ford. At one point I was really into Charlotte Tilbury. These days, I always think twice before I do anything with Charlotte Tilbury. I always think twice before I do anything with Tom Ford. And it's not that the quality is bad, but sometimes you have to look at what you're actually getting as compared to the price point. Now, Charlotte Tilbury, she is like one of the most expensive girls on the block per ounce. When you compare the amount it costs for hers to other brands, she is like the most expensive girl in the ball. And yet, like, the last 5 of her palettes have looked identical. Look like you're running on the same color story. It's not something I'm necessarily down to put my money on. I want something that's going to intrigue me and entice me. And some days she really is falling short. Same with Tom Ford. Although, from my understanding, Tom Ford just sold Tom Ford Beauty for quite a hefty payday. Good for him. I'm hoping maybe if it's no longer quite under as much of his control, that they will get more creative. More creative, yeah. For the price point, like his palettes, I think are like $88. I've never paid $88 for his, mostly because my cheap self waits and finds them on a different site and works from there. Oh, my chair's got wheels. Since I've moved upstairs, my chair has wheels. I'm dreading tomorrow. This vaccination, I feel like, is going to kick me in the butt. Oh well, it's for the better. Okay, guys, leave some comments down below. Let me know what palettes you've purchased and you thought you'd use a ton and just somehow has never fallen into the rotation. Just never reached for. Like, let me know. I'm super curious. Let me know if you've bought some that you just absolutely went insane for. I've got a couple where I've purchased them and they have ended up as an almost daily. Like, I reach for them over and over and over again. I just deep conditioned and my hair is looking weird. Like, I had it cut and now it's, I don't know. Okay, guys, let me know what you think. Leave some comments down below. Thanks.